So as Zina said, first of all, welcome to all the new faces that I haven't seen before. Welcome to all the old faces. I do recognize a few. Some of you I recognize just because you've asked such good questions. I consider you my question ninjas. So I do like questions. So for all of you, please, either ask questions in the chat, but we're going to have plenty of time at the end to also do questions. So we started this in April. I think we've had 13, 14 sessions. We've been meeting every Wednesday. We took a little bit of a break in August. I hope you guys took some form of a break. And then I get to kick the second series off. And then there's some amazing, amazing speakers and coaches that we've managed to attract, partners at some of the top venture capital funds, the top female seed investor in Europe. We've got a famous musician and actor who's going to be doing a mixture of a concert for you, but also talking about handling rejections and just pursuing your dreams and not giving up. We have people who've built businesses, people who've failed at their first business and got it right the second time. So I really encourage you, this is not a one-off thing. It's like every one of these sessions builds on each other. This is a very informal community. If you could see me, I'm barefoot. You know, this is an informal place. It's a professional environment, but it's very informal. So I will say for anyone who doesn't have their videos on, I don't care if you're drinking beer. I don't care if you're in a tank top. I don't care if you're in your pajamas, but I do care about trying to see a few more because I'm staring at a screen and half of you are like names and black screen. That's not very fun for me to look at. So unless you have horrible Wi-Fi, it really doesn't matter. So thank you. I appreciate it. I've seen a couple of you jump back on. So I'm going to speak, I would say, for probably a short hour. It's going to go very fast. And then we're going to do as much questions and answers as you need. I'm going to be available for you for as long as you need. The plan for so the subject tonight is one that I'm very passionate about. And it is one which I believe is the foundation of everything. It's the foundation of life, which is the quality of your health, the quality of your energy, the quality of what you get to give to the world has a lot to do with what you consider your health. Now, most people do not think of health as a business skill. Most people, it's like, that's something you do in the gym and then you get to work, or it's something you do on a yoga mat and then you get to work. My personal opinion is health is probably the most important business skill because there is no business, there are no relationships, there is no passionate sex, there is no good parenting unless you are healthy and you have energy, okay? So that's the first thing I want to say. Health is a business skill. Attracting and hiring healthy employees is a business skill. I'm going to talk about it later, but I have seen people in my business not raise funds. And I've asked why to the investors, and they've said they're unhealthy. They're an unhealthy group. They don't have the energy for the marathon of what sometimes a startup or building a business is. So let's not take it for granted. It's the reason I wanted to kick this off, which is you can get strategies, you can get tools, and we're going to give you plenty of those today and for the next 10 weeks. But if you're not healthy, not much lands, okay? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a summary, some things to think about. Your responsibility is this. I'm seeing some of you take notes. I can promise you that people who take notes retain things 3 times better than people that don't, even if you never read those notes again. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I can see pens. Me too. I'm a note taker. I'm a writer. If you write things, the brain remembers them 3 times better. I don't care if you ever look at these notes again, but please take notes and please be open-minded. There's some things you're going to hear. You're going to go like, I don't agree with that. That's fine. Just park it. If you don't want to agree with it, pick it back up in an hour. It doesn't really matter. So for those who don't know me, I'm going to give you 2 minutes on me because you can read up about this. I don't want to waste your time talking about myself. But I am a business coach and an advisor to startup founders and CEOs all around the world. I think last time I counted, I'm in 14 countries. Coaching incredible people, whether it's the founder itself or the management team, or actually even the whole company. Before that, I had my own startup, so I feel like I've been on the other side of the table. I can relate to it. I have compassion for people who are there. I'm not just barking instructions at them. And before that, I was in venture capital. So I ran a fund in New York City. So I feel that I can sort of have all three hats where, you know, I can jump in with the business. I can definitely look at it from the investor's perspective, but I'm a big believer in what I call whole life coaching, which is a lot of people hire me for a business issue. And then it's actually the rest of their life, which is actually affecting whether the business can or cannot grow. So I'm not going to divide you up into business or men and women or old and young or funded or not funded or successful or not successful. I really don't care about that. And you should stop dividing yourself that way too. I'm seeing people as whole life people. And the beginning of the whole life and the first place I go to with clients who do pay me a lot of money, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, funded startups, you name it, is the first session I always do with them is on their health. Otherwise, nothing lands. So that's what I want to give you as a gift today. You cannot be effective in any area of your life without having energy. So a lot of people think health, fitness, gym. I'm actually not going to talk to you about that. That's up to you, how you choose to sort of, you know, have energy. I want to talk to you about the quality of energy, right? If you think about it, productivity, and I'm sure some of you have read productivity books. I know that I have. Productivity starts with having enough energy. It is not about how to handle emails. It is not about managing your time. It is not about fitting everything in. If you do not have enough energy, you will not be productive. Full stop. Never need to read a productivity book again. Okay. So if you're looking at your team and they're not being productive, it's not because they have too many emails or too many Slack channels. It's because they actually don't have enough energy, first of all, to handle it, but second of all, to actually make a better decision about all this stuff that's coming to them. So the first thing, for those who haven't written anything down, I want you to write this down. You must, first of all, be the CEO of your own health. Before the CEO of a company, before the CEO of an industry, before the CEO of a startup, before the CEO of 20 or 2 or 200 employees, you must be the CEO of your own health. Okay, this is not something you leave to chance. It is not something you leave when you have time, or worse, when you get sick. Okay, that's what people do. I'm too young. It's not a problem. I'm pretty healthy, right? And well, I'm sure there's some of you on the call who are like, I'm super healthy. I eat well. I go to the gym. Totally irrelevant material. Log off, right? And I would say, stay with me, because what you're going to hear is not that. Okay, so be the CEO of your own health. Another minute on my personal story. So when I lived in New York for many years. People in New York appear healthy, but they're not healthy. You know, they are smoking a lot, they're drinking a lot, they are in the gym at 4:30 in the morning trying to deal with their stress because they don't sleep. They are doing a lot of big expense accounts, but they look like they are healthy on the outside, and a lot of them are not. Believe me, because a lot of them end up in either my coaching practice or in a doctor's office. So I have been that person, right? I was never a smoker, but I certainly was someone who was working 100-hour weeks. I certainly was someone who was eating way too much and badly. I certainly was someone who was drinking some alcohol, and I was about 15 kilos heavier than I am now. So I've been at the unhealthy place. I might look healthy now, but I promise you I've been at the other place. If I could show you some pictures, which I might send, you would be actually quite shocked. But here's what happened, right? I had a big job. I was running a $500 million venture capital fund at the age of 29. That is a lot of stress on a young person, right? I'm a few decades since then. But at the time, I actually couldn't handle the stress. And so my body, of course, couldn't handle the stress either. But what happened is I made the decision at the time that building my business, building my reputation, building who I was in the world, building my bank account was much more important than my health, which is what a lot of people do, right? And then I had a little bit of a wake-up call. I didn't have a big diagnosis, but I certainly had a wake-up call. I ended up in hospital a few times. I had crazy skin conditions. I fainted a few times. I had adrenal fatigue. You know, all these things are manageable, right? They're all fine. They're not life-threatening. They're not a big diagnosis. But for me, I remember being in a hospital one day, you know, and I wasn't feeling well, and they couldn't really diagnose me with anything. And I thought, you know what? No boyfriend and no job has any right and permission over my health. right? Because some of the guys I were dating were unhealthy. And some of the jobs I had were also unhealthy. But I remember making a decision there and then, and I said, no work and no person has permission over my health. And I quit 3 months later, right? I was just like, it's not worth my health. I was 30, 31 at the time. So I left that job. The weight, of course, fell off very quickly, 15 kilos. I actually went to Italy, which is not the place that you go to lose weight, for those who know Italy. And I had ice creams every day, and I had pasta, and I had pizza. And of course, the body is happy. And so it goes, oh, I can drop the weight. I can come back into balance. I can come back to my own truth, right? So the body is always, always giving us clues. And we're going to get to some of that. So very long story short, after the Italy trip, I ended up being so fascinated by the subject of health that I interviewed about 100 health experts around the world, from the most traditional Harvard Health, you know, all the top Columbia Health, this, and University of London, and like the best doctors you can imagine with all the proper diplomas, to the most alternative ones. So I went looking for like the Dalai Lama's doctor. I wanted to know, how is he so healthy? Why is he so happy? And why does he never get sick? I know he meditates a lot. That's one clue. But there were other clues there too. I went looking for the expert in, you know, omega-3 oils and raw foods and protein. And I was just like, I just wanted to know. So I became a little bit of an investigative journalist. And I wrote a book called, you know, Living Healthier, Conversations with Extraordinary People on the Subject of Health. So I want to share some of the things today. Of course, I can't share everything, but I want to give you some of the highlights, because there's a very big difference between a healthy mind, a healthy spirit, healthy emotions, and a healthy body. And some of you might say, I'm healthy, and my gut tells me, yeah, there might be an area of health that actually might need a bit of a boost. As I said, the body is always sending you clues, right? So if any of you are tired, that's a clue. If any of you are stressed, it's a clue. If any of you have sleeping issues, it's a clue. If any of you have digestion issues, it's a clue. If any of you have mood issues, clue. Hair issues, clue. Libido issues, clue. Any of those, I can keep going on and on, right? So it's much broader. The body is constantly communicating with you if we actually listen to it. So I want to start off just on the whole subject of health, giving you a definition of what I consider and what I heard these experts consider. What is health? Health is when the body is working at its optimum level. That's it. Health is when the body works at its optimum. The skin does what it does, the brain does what it does, the lungs do what it does, the nose does what it does. That's it. When the body is working at optimal level, it gives you energy. If it's not, you feel depleted. You wake up tired, right? So here's another thing I want you to write down. The quality of your life is the quality of your energy. You don't need to go to medical school. The quality of your life is the quality of your energy. So that begs the question, where does energy come from? Does anyone want to write? Where does energy come from?
Sorry, do you mean physical
yeah.
energy or mental energy?
I mean the energy to be productive, to have relationships, to be a parent, to start a business, to go to the gym, to cook, to clean, to sport, food. Yep. Yeah. Keep going. These are great.
Seeing some good things around, some good people around, always gives me a lot of energy.
Yep, that's a good one too. We're going to get to that. Okay, so Maria, it's the body who creates the energy. Now you're onto something. So the quality of your energy comes from the quality of your cells. Okay, we're going to go into biology for about a minute. The quality of your energy is the quality of your cells. So what do your cells need to survive and to thrive? They need 4 things, I'm going to tell you. I don't expect you to know these things. The first thing they need is oxygen. The second thing they need is water. The third thing they need is nutrients. And the fourth thing cells need to survive is to eliminate waste. That's it, right? So whether you've heard this before or it's reminding you of a biology class, that's fine. I'm trying to make it very practical for you. So oxygen, water, nutrients, and eliminating waste. So what creates cells dying? Lack of oxygen and lack of water. The two other things it can still kind of cope with if you don't feed it well and you don't eliminate properly. We've all seen people who have those two things. You are, okay, let's talk about oxygen to begin with. Your worst habit is shallow breathing. It's worse than your porn habit. It's worse than your Coke habit. It's worse than your weed habit. It's worse than your ice cream habit. Your worst habit is shallow breathing for the body. If the body could speak to you, it would say the number one thing I need you to do is take in more oxygen, because it looks like there's a lot of stress going on outside in the country, politically, economically, at work, with your children, with your spouse. Your biggest stress is inside your body. If you are not giving your body and your cells oxygen, you will be massively stressed, right? Most of us sit like this, work like this. What happens? You compress your abdomen, no oxygen to the lungs, no oxygen to the cells, body goes in warning, no energy, survive, not peak performance, survival performance. Yes, work is tough. Yes, situations are tough. You must start breathing consciously. I know this sounds really basic, but this is easy. You could do it anywhere, from any place, by yourself, in private. I don't care where it is, but you must start breathing consciously. For anyone who's interested in it, there's an amazing, amazing book right now called Breath by a guy called James Nestor, Nestor. I'm going to tell you the most interesting thing I read in that book, even though it's really worth reading, or at least watch his TED talk. You must breathe through your nose. Breathing through your nose will transform your level of energy, much more so than breathing through your mouth. Okay, so that's just a little tip. I'm going to give you lots of little things. When you breathe through your nose, your body actually knows what to do with the breath and the oxygen, and it goes the right way. Your mouth was never meant for breathing. So that's one. You must start breathing consciously. The other thing is, when you're not breathing deeply, right, your lungs are shaped kind of like this. When you are breathing shallow, you are letting 1/3 of your lungs get some oxygen. 2/3 of your lungs don't get any oxygen. And actually all the, what they call alveoli, are at the bottom of your lungs, trying to get energy to your cells. That is why you need to breathe deeply. Okay, so that's the quick on breathing. When you are conscious about breathing, however you do it, whether it's a Post-it note, whether it's a sign, whether it's on your phone, you will literally feel your stress levels go down. You will literally feel your energy come back up. So as basic as it is, sometimes people are like, this is way too simple, I'm out of here. You're not doing the simple things. Your body is made for very high performance for very long time. It is not capable of doing that without oxygen, and now without water. Okay. Here's the other thing. I interviewed the top expert in the world on water. He's an Iranian doctor, and he healed people with chronic diseases, chronic ulcers, chronic skin conditions, chronic stuff, with one ingredient only, water. And he's world famous for being able to cure things with water. As quality of water, obviously no pesticides, no plastics, all of that stuff. But he wrote a book called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. He's passed away now, but it's also a great, great little book. He said, everyone I've ever met and everyone I've ever tested is chronically dehydrated. Chronically dehydrated, not even slightly dehydrated, chronically dehydrated. What has happened in our culture is that we are confusing our hunger signals for thirst signals. So when you go, oh, I'm hungry, or, you know, I'm hungry, I need some snacks, I need some snacks. We have so switched it over in the brain that the brain is not actually letting you know anymore that you're thirsty. So I have never done a talk, a workshop, a coaching session without a giant, if not 2 glasses of water before. It's non-negotiable, guys. It is non-negotiable, okay? For those of you that drink coffee, right? I'm not against coffee, but I'm going to give you one thing, because a lot of founders and CEOs drink a lot of coffee and everything in balance. For every 1 cup of coffee you drink, you need 6 cups of water to eliminate the acid residue in the body. So I'm fine with you drinking coffee, but for every cup of coffee, I need 6 more glasses of water. That's not your intake for the day. That's in addition to what the water content that you need for the day, right? And we're going to talk about the acid balance in the body because that massively does that too. So this is easy. Big water bottle, by your bedside table, first thing in the morning, by your work, whatever it is. But that's breathing and water. There's nothing more important for the quality of your cells and the quality of your energy. If you wanted 10 productivity tips on clearing your inbox, this is it. This is it, right? Here's the other thing. If you are drinking carbonated water, the body doesn't like carbon dioxide, right? One of the waste products of the body is carbon dioxide. When you are drinking water with carbon dioxide, guess what happens? The body goes, too much carbon dioxide. This is not what I want. I just want oxygen. I've got to get it out. I've got to get it out, right? So that is why carbonated drinks are so bad. It's not only the sugar, but your body is constantly trying to balance oxygen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, carbon dioxide. You drink sparkling water or you drink sparkling drinks with carbon dioxide, poof, takes all the energy away from the body. It does not help you. Same with drinking really, really cold drinks. The body's temperature doesn't like super cold drinks. It likes room temperature drinks. Otherwise, what's it going to do? It's going to use up your energy to warm up the drink. Okay, the body's many cries for water. Yeah, that is the word. It's a very long Iranian name. It's called Dr. Batman with a lot of other letters at the end, but we'll find it for you. Okay, so that's oxygen and water. I want to just make a point about, you know, the quality of your health and the quality of your energy is the quality of your cells. Your cells exist in your bloodstream. Let's see if you can figure out this riddle. For any of you who've ever had a fish or an aquarium, when your fish is sick or tired, how do you heal the fish? It's a very important question. How do you
change a lot of water?
That's it.
Big
Zena,
part of it.
That's it.
You can see my fish tank behind.
I can see the fish tank. So this is a guy who knows. Okay, so thank you for the answer. So when the fish is sick, we change the water. That is not what we do as human beings. When a human is sick, we treat the human. We treat the spot, we treat the sore throat, we treat the headache, we treat the problem, we treat the stomach ache. We do not clean the water. What is the water for us humans? It is our blood. We do not clean our bloodstream. We fix the fish. You take the fish out, you kind of go, oh, there's something here, and then you put it back in dirty water. And that's what our health is like. You want high quality health and high quality energy, you must think about the quality of your blood. Okay, so the blood needs to be clean to provide you energy and health. So what's the number one thing you need to do to have clean blood? You need to eliminate all the waste. The blood is a naturally cleaning machine, but it needs help eliminating the waste. Okay, so of course there's natural ways that we excrete and we urinate, but the main sewage system of the blood is lymph. L-Y-M-P-H, lymph. That is the sewage system of the blood. We have lymph nodes. We have hundreds of lymph nodes. The minute you have a sore throat, your lymph nodes are sore. People who've had cancer diagnosis, their lymphs often are the places where tumors happen. Okay, so your lymph is what you need to be very mindful of. So here's the thing with lymph. The blood is pumped by the heart. So the blood is constantly pumping. Lymph is not pumped by the heart. Lymph is pumped when you move. If you are not moving, lymph doesn't move. That is why exercise is so important. I don't care how much you weigh. I don't care what you do. If you are not moving, your waste buildup is going up and up and up and up in your blood. You must move if you want to move, if you want healthy blood. Walk, run, jump on a trampoline. I don't care what it is. Jump on the bed with your kids, but you must move if there is stagnant toxicity in the blood. All diseases start in the lymph nodes. Listen to that. All diseases, all sickness starts in the lymph nodes. You must be much more conscious of it, right? What do? You clean it up, okay? So anything that you're seeing, any issue, any disease, just kind of go, okay, I need to move, not I need to get in the gym to build some muscle. That's also very nice. I'm going even a step before. How do I help eliminate waste? Here's the second thing the body needs to eliminate waste. It needs sleep. The body eliminates and heals at night. If you are not sleeping, it will put that on hold. On hold, nope, nope, not now, nope, not yet, nope, not time. It is holding off on the elimination of waste, right? There is a toxic buildup. So when you're like, proudly waking up and doing your 4 hours of sleep, I appreciate it, but I can tell you, if I'm speaking on behalf of your body is like, I can't cope. Okay, and it can't cope because it cannot do the functions it usually does at night. So for those who were on my very first call, where we talked about the 9 principles of change, and for those who didn't listen to it, it's available, and I'm sure Zena can send it around. So it's like, how do you navigate big life changes? One of the big principles of change of people who get through change is that they take care of their health. But I gave you guys an acronym, which is the SEED, S-E-E-D, the seed of all change, the seed of all success, the seed of all productivity, the seed of all happy relationships, the seed of all success. SEED is S for sleep, E for exercise, any form of movement, E for eating well, and D for drinking water. So if you forgot everything I just said in the last 15 minutes, just remember SEED. Write it down. How am I doing on those 4 every single day? I've had people pay me a lot of money to just remind them to do those 4 things. Peak performance athletes, they cannot stay in peak performance if they don't follow these 4 things, whatever their sport is. They must sleep, they must exercise, or at least stretch, even if you can't move. If you're stretching, you are moving the lymph nodes, right? That's why stretching is also so valuable. You don't actually only need to sweat. Eating well, eating nutrients, we're going to talk about that, and drinking water, okay? Okay, let me take some water. I'm going to encourage you to do the same. Okay, so I've touched upon this, but I'm going to put it really clearly and specifically. The body must do 3 things to stay healthy and alive all the time. If it doesn't do these 3 things, you will die. 1, it must balance your oxygen and carbon dioxide level. 2, it must keep your body temperature more or less around 36.5 or 96 Fahrenheit. And 3, it must keep your blood pH at around 7. Okay, probably not what most of us think when we think about health. So you are either helping your body do these things or making it really hard for your body to do these 3 things, right? So I'm going to say them again. Balance oxygen and carbon dioxide. These are survival to stay alive, to give you energy to do everything you want to do with your life. Run 1 business, run multiple business, have 1 child, have 4 children. This is what the body's trying to do. Keep your body temperature 36.5 or 96 Fahrenheit, and keeping your blood at a pH of 7. So how are you doing on these 3? Are you helping with the oxygen or hurting it? Are you hurting it with drinking too much carbon dioxide? Are you breathing, not breathing, right? First question to ask. How am I doing with keeping my body temperature? And this is not I'm cold or I'm hot or anything. This is, what foods am I eating, right? What environment am I in? And keeping your blood pH at 7. This is a really, really important point for those who've never heard about this. So there are acidic foods and there are alkaline foods. There are acidic drinks and there are alkaline drinks. Whenever we eat, we usually eat a whole bunch of acid, and then the body's biggest drain of energy is digestion. It's not sex. It's not parenting. It's digestion. Your biggest drain of energy is digestion. It's not running a business. It's none of that. Your biggest drain of energy is digestion. So it of course has to come forward, which is, well, what am I asking my body to digest that I'm draining so much of my energy, right? So I can send you a list, or Zena can do it. On the internet, you will find charts for what are acidic foods and what are alkaline foods. As you might imagine, anything that's green, other than green gummy bears, as my son always reminds me, anything that is green is alkaline. It's got more of the energy of the sun, more of the energy of nature in it. Coffee has a pH of 3.5. You put coffee in, the body immediately has to fight to try and get you back to 7. That is why your adrenaline go up. That is why you wake up in the morning. That is why your body goes, fuck, wake up. You think it's a nice wake up. It's a massive poisonous wake up for the body to try and get back to 7, because you in an acidic state will be very unhealthy. All diseases exist in an acidic state. Cancer exists in an acidic state. Flu is an acidic state. So one of the easiest things to do is to go, what am I eating? And am I eating enough alkaline foods? Believe me, I'm French. I love cakes. I love chocolate. I love ice cream. I love red wine. I love a whole bunch of things that are acidic. But I know that at least half my plate needs to be alkaline if I want to have really consistent, strong energy. So I will put some avocado, and I will have some greens, and I will drink celery juice in the morning. And I won't do, 3 acidic meals in a day. So please do yourself a favor, get this chart. I'm sure Zena can find one. They're all over the internet, and look at what the foods and drinks are that are alkaline and acidic. Be a little bit more conscious. I'm not an extreme person. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this instead, right? I'm going to have, the food I want plus a salad, not fries. Or I'm going to do the pasta, but then I'm also going to have something that, is green or really healthy. So start making a little bit more conscious choices. You will see your body will send you a thank you note. This acid alkaline thing is not talked about it enough. There are amazing books. There's an amazing book called The pH Miracle. For anyone who's interested in this, probably the guy's called Dr. Robert Young. He's a microbiologist. He looks at the quality of people's blood, and he looks at literally acid crystalline things in the blood. You remove that, people get healthy again. So that's the acid alkaline. Here's what I want to say just at this stage of our chat. I don't want this to feel like a to-do list. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Are you kidding me? I've got so many more things I need to do. No. This is not a to-do list ad. This is an identity shift, right? You don't put on your to-do list every day to brush your teeth. It's just who you are. I don't put on my to-do list to drink water every day. It's just who I am. I'm very hydrated because I've done so much research on water thanks to the book that I wrote. I don't put it on my to-do list to change what it is that I eat. I don't put on my to-do list to stretch in the morning. So I want you to kind of go, this is not, oh my God, this girl is just piling on shit on my to-do list. I'm out of here. This is like, how do I become this? Where it's like, it's my natural way of being. This is a being state. It's not a doing state. And your body will send you thank yous in so many ways you cannot possibly imagine. For anyone who has any health issue going on, I say to my son all the time, the body is a healing machine. It is constantly trying to get you back into balance. You are constantly getting it out of balance. Back into balance, out of balance, back into balance, out of balance. You got to get on the side of your body, right? Your body wants to help you out. I always say there's sort of, what did I say? 1, 2, 3. There's 5 gifts of vital health: vital breathing, vital water, vital live foods. So foods that are alive, that have something to feed you, vital movement. And then the big one is vital thoughts. I think one of you earlier said vital thoughts. So you want to look at your energy, look at your stressful thoughts. You are asking your body a lot when you feed it a lot of stress. Why? Because the body does not like cortisol, and stress equals cortisol, and cortisol messes all your hormones up. It messes so much stuff up. So the body is constantly trying to get into balance. So every stressful thought, you know, you might go, I'm quite good. I'm really, I mean, believe me, I lived in New York and I coach people in New York, and there's this like pride of being stressed, and this pride of how much stress they've handled and how much stuff they've got done. And it's like, they like wear it as a badge of honor. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor, the body, it's not even the person, right? The person seems to be managing, but the body's ability to handle that level of stress and cortisol, it does catch up with people. So talking about health, let's talk about mental and emotional health, because just as important for the quality of your physical health. One of the biggest drains of energy, guys, is not listening to your truth, not listening to your gut, not listening to your intuition, not living in your truth. I've done a lot of research recently on autoimmune issues. More and more and more and more people have autoimmune issues. Think about what autoimmune is. Autoimmune, going against yourself, going against your body. That is autoimmune. The body normally never fights itself. It never goes against itself. It never attacks itself. It never attacks its own cells, unless you are against yourself. How do you go against yourself? You go against yourself by bad habits. You go against yourself by, you know, I'd say the worst you go against yourself is living a life that you know is wrong for you, living in a relationship you know is wrong, living in a place you know is wrong, living in work you know is wrong, not doing what you know you should be doing, not firing the person you know you should be firing, not speaking your truth to the friend that's just being horrible to you, not saying no and saying yes. That is you being against yourself. You not feeding yourself properly is being against yourself. You not having the time to cook and getting ice cream is going against yourself. You saying horrible things to yourself. I'm shit, I'm a terrible CEO, I'm a failure, I'm the worst ever, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm an imposter. If people would know, they'd be ashamed. Like, that is going against yourself. So this explosion in autoimmune is partly what we're saying and doing to ourselves. Partly our level of self-hatred is now so high. Very few people like themselves on the planet these days. But that's where it starts, right? It's sort of, where are you not living your truth? Where are you going against what you know is the truth? And I mean, this is another big thing I do with all my clients. So once we've sorted the health stuff out and I've gotten people to raise their standards, right? This is just about standards. You guys are all super smart. I respect you all. You're all doing amazing things, and there's a lot going on for you. When you raise your standards a little bit in the quality of your health, it's exponential what happens. It's exponential. So the second place I'll go with any of you that I would ever coach is I will go to your truth and your intuition. Where are you ignoring your intuition? Where are you not listening to your gut? Where are you not doing something you know you should be doing? In what area of your life is it? And then I just hold a space for you to feel like you're strong enough and powerful enough to be able to do it. But you want to know where you're draining energy? It's when you are not listening to that voice in the morning. For those who heard me, you've heard my story. Like, so I was working at Time Warner. I'd climbed this very high ladder. I had a very externally successful job that the whole world told me I should be incredibly proud and happy of, and it was amazing, and everyone wanted this job. And I was dating this incredible guy. People magazine had decided he was one of the top bachelors to get in New York. So I have this very externally successful life, right? And internally, every morning, this is the voice that I would hear. Ariane, you're in the wrong job. Ariane, you're sleeping with the wrong guy. Ariane, you've got to lose the weight. Okay, so those were my three truths. Every morning, every morning, every morning, every morning. So how long do you think I could ignore that for? A day, a week, a month, a year? For me, it was about 2 years. Very painful, very, very painful to ignore those voices. But I promise you, you have a voice going on. I don't know what it's telling you, but when you ignore that voice, the body gets very unhappy. And thank God my body made sure it was like, no, we're not letting you get away with this. No, not happening. Thank God it gave me a little wake-up call, not a big wake-up call. I coach people who are in their 30s, founders, CEOs with cancer diagnoses, lots of them. So this is serious stuff, guys. And you know what? The session before they weren't diagnosed, and the next session they are. That's how quickly it happens. So I'm not prepared to let anyone put this to the side and kind of go, it's not going to happen to me. People I'm shocked have had diagnoses. But when I really come down to it, there is something that they were not taking action on. Often it's lack of courage, or it's a fear of consequences. Well, if I do that, what does it mean for my child or my husband or my parents or my money or my job? Or I promise you all that stuff gets sorted out. What doesn't get sorted out is what you're doing to your body if you're ignoring your truth. So get really honest. You want to know one of my biggest sources of energy? Self-honesty. You will get piles of energy when you are self-honest with yourself, more so than you probably ever imagined. It is not 2 hours in the gym. I mean, I definitely exercise, and we can talk about that in the questions. But my level of energy is consistent because I'm doing stuff I love. I'm speaking my truth. I'm listening to the hard stuff. I'm, you know, emotionally, I'm feeling the whole thing. I'm sad, I cry. I'm not going to put that down either. That you're going against yourself. I'm angry. Believe me, I get angry. Your entire range of emotions is there to also be felt, right? So your emotional health is just as important in some ways as your mental health. Your mind is telling you, you're doing this wrong. You shouldn't have hired this guy. This is the wrong deal. This is the wrong apartment to rent. This is the wrong person to date. And you're going, nope, I'm going to do it anyway. Energy. It's just a sign. Okay. It's just one of your clues. Another thing I would say, another thing that's draining your energy are your coping strategies. So we're not going to go through, I'll go through a few of them now, but maybe what some of you can share later. But our coping strategies are what we do to cope with tough stuff in our lives. So some of us cope through coffee, some of us cope through Netflix, some of us cope through working even harder, some of us cope through food, some of us cope through things. What are your coping strategies? Your coping strategies are not adding energy to your life. So just get clear, just write it down, kind of go, okay, I need to kind of get clear on what my coping strategies are. 3 more things, and then we're gonna jump to questions. What time is it? Yeah, perfect. I want to talk about technology for a second. All the ones you mentioned. Thank you, Zena. Thanks for your self-honesty. Do you feel the rush of energy? Sometimes when you're honest and you're just like, that's me, 100% me. I call it de-shaming yourself. You're like, yep, it's all on the table. Oof. The body just relaxes. You can feel the relief. I don't have to hide it. I don't have to put it under the carpet. If you put things under the carpet, I promise you, you will trip on it one day. I promise you. Something or someone will trip on the carpet if you're putting things under the carpet. So let's talk about technology for a second. Technology and health. I love technology. Without technology, I'm in Kenya. A lot of you are in Ukraine. This would never have happened. So I love technology. And I also love having limits on technology. I put limits on screen time for my son, but I definitely put limits on myself. I cannot be in integrity with my son with screen time if I'm on screens all the time. It's not fair. I'm not being a role model. It's not right. It's like you do this and I do that. It's like having different standards and rules. So it's not correct. Too much technology. You know all of this, but I'm going to remind you again because I have your attention for a little bit longer. Too much technology is bad for your eyes. Let's just start with that. Too much technology is really bad for your eyes. So you need to take a break. What has happened in the last 2-3 years on Zoom has massively affected people's eyesight. Unless you want it to keep going down, you need to take breaks from your screens, right? It's very bad for your sleep. For anyone who knows anything about sleep and circadian rhythms and melatonin and when the brain decides it can sleep, it is horrible. You must turn off your screens at least an hour, hour and a half before bed. It will interrupt your sleep. If you're like, oh, I can't sleep, you know, I'm stressed about work. Believe me, everyone's stressed about work and lots of people are sleeping. Turn off your screen. It will literally change your brain chemistry. Technology and your hormones. Technology affects your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland is one of the main glands together with your thyroid. When your pituitary gland is filled up on technology, it crashes all the rest of your hormones. It's one of the reasons there's so much fertility issues going on in the world right now. Technology, no one's making this association. Technology, pituitary gland, thyroid, estrogen, testosterone, all of it. Your pituitary gland regulates your entire hormonal structure in your system. It does not like a lot of technology. So for the good of your pituitary gland, even if you don't know where that is, it's the main gland in your brain. Go, you know what? I'm going to love myself. I'm going to be kind to my glands. It's trying to do a whole bunch of other things. Here's a few more things I want to tell you about technology. Carrying your laptops in your pockets are really bad. Carrying your phones in your pockets are really bad for you. I don't know if that comes to you as a surprise, but think about it. This, right, can call you wherever you are in the world. It is a little machine that has a very powerful Wi-Fi connection. If I put this in my pocket, it is affecting everything that's close by, not to get too graphic. It is not good for you. A lot of women, they put their phone in a bag, right? The phone is near this breast. I guarantee you 99% of women with breast cancer, it's where they were carrying their phone. The technology does not help. So please, whatever you do, I don't want to see a laptop on your lap. I don't want you to see you working in bed with a hot laptop on your private parts or your organs. Please stop doing this. I know this is crazy. I know we're getting very informal. But there are a lot of doctors speaking about this. Technology is affecting us hormonally. It's affecting our organs. It's affecting our energy. I want to share a real sort of quick, here's the other thing with technology. We're obsessed with outer technology, right? Cell phones, everything's amazing. I want you to become obsessed with your inner technology. Your inner technology is your intuition. It's your gut. It's your creativity. It's your ideas. If you are too outer technology, you will be disconnected from your inner technology. I want to share a very quick story. He's a friend of mine. He's one of the co-creators of Gmail. So this is whatever, 25, 30 years ago. He's a great guy. He has created $3 billion companies. One of the things, I mean, someone was interviewing him and they said, how is it possible that you have had 3 ideas and created $3 billion companies? Where do you get your ideas from? How does it land? What happens for you? And he said three words, which I've never forgotten, and I teach everyone. Tech-free walk. Every single one of his ideas for his company, when to sell, when to close, when to hire, when to fire, when to get funded, when to speak to the press, when to market, have come from what he calls his tech-free walks. So tech-free walks are like a big new thing right now in Silicon Valley, partly because he started to talk about it a bit more. But a tech-free walk is no phone. It is no phone, no access to a phone. It is taking a walk, however it is. He goes, there are times I will walk in an airport, I will put my phone completely away where it's nowhere close to me, and I will take a walk up and down, up and down, up and down. And he goes, sometimes my best ideas happen while I'm doing that. But please think about this. Tech-free walk. You want creativity, you want ideas, you're struggling with a problem at work, just try it. That's what he would tell you. I'm telling you for free. Another side of your health are the people you surround yourself with. It's a huge one, guys. Huge, huge, huge. What your biggest sources of energy drain very often are people. I'm not saying you need to all get divorced. I'm not saying you all need to, you know, send your kids to boarding school. I'm not saying you need to like fire all your friends, but I want you to be very conscious of who you're allowing in your space on a regular basis. And I want you to be very conscious of who, if are you shielded from that energy, or are you very kind of empathetic, porous, codependent, you know, mom's unhappy, now you're unhappy, or husband had a bad day at work, now you've had a bad day at work. Okay, that is a massive impact on your energy. I promise you it is possible for your husband to have a bad day at work and you to stay in a happy, solid place. You don't have to put it in his face, but you do not have to take the elevator into the basement if your husband is in the basement. You can stay on the 3rd floor. At one point, he will come back up to the 3rd floor. He will feel disconnected from you. You do not need to meet people in low energy places, whether it's the people you love the most. Even if your kid has had a bad day, let him or her have a bad day. Don't go fix it. Teach them how to figure it out by themselves, right? We're so tied to sort of, oh, this is going on, or employees or a boss or whatever. Try and disconnect a little bit from being so hooked in, so plugged into other people's energy. Because I can tell you all of this stuff, but if you are around, you know, what I call an energy vampire, or even worse, an energy victim. So a vampire takes your energy, and they know who you are, right? Especially people who've got light and who are up to doing things in the world. It's like, I'm in Kenya here. I've got to know mosquitoes really well. Okay. Mosquitoes are energy vampires. I'm going to go get them. So who are your energy vampires in your life? Just become conscious of it. You don't need to pick up the phone every time. You don't need to see them. You don't need to spend 15 minutes on the phone. Send them a text. And then who are your energy victims? Victims is poor me, take care of me, love me. Something to, right? It's like, and I promise you, I've got the heart and compassion for anyone. But I know the difference between someone who is willing to share and be vulnerable and eventually help themselves, and someone who's a victim and just wants to be fixed or saved. And you need to get good at those, at detecting those two things, because vampires and victims drain a lot of energy. And if you have some of those on your team, just think about it. Either you need to ask them to raise their standards and that you're not going to tolerate it anymore, because a lot of you have just tolerated it. And so you're in a relationship, or you're in a way where you're with someone and they're like, oh, but you know, this person always gives me energy. This person always kind of pumps me up. So that's sort of the people side and the community, you know. I mean, there's a very famous TED talk about the 5, you know, I think it's called the 5 people. And it's the 5 most important people that you spend your time with have the biggest impact on your life, on every area. If they're smokers, you'll probably be a smoker. If they're healthy, you'll probably be healthy. If they're an entrepreneur, you'll probably be an entrepreneur. If they're single, you'll probably be single. So the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with have a massive influence on your health and your energy and your productivity. If they procrastinate, you'll probably procrastinate. If they're good with money, you'll probably be good with money. So who's around you, right? Just be conscious. Who's around me? Who needs to be around me? Wow, I don't have anyone healthy in my life. This is crazy, right? I need to go look for someone to sort of bring that energy into my life. And the final piece of health, which is very rarely talked about, is what I call your spiritual health. You can do everything right. I know people who, you know, have lived in spiritual ashrams, and they vegan, and they drink this juice and this tea, and they do massages and they do yoga and whatever, and they still get cancer and they still die and they still whatever. What's going on with those people? A lot of the times your spiritual health is not linked to a person in the sky or a being or whatever. Your spiritual health is what brings your spirit alive. It's what inspires you. It's what's worth doing with your life. It's like, why are you here? It's like, what's the compass of your life pointing towards? It's like making a life that matters and has meaning. The people who have that are some of the healthiest, high energy people in the world. That's, you know, it's like finding something to be passionate about. It's finding something to put your energy on. And believe me, So much of that is linked for doing and contributing stuff for others. One of the biggest energy drains is what I call self-concern. Me, 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 and my company and my money and my stock portfolio and my relationship and my weight and my kids and my me, huge energy drain. Self-concern. When you are in a place of suffering and you're not in a good place, I promise you, think of me when this happened, you're thinking about yourself, some aspect of your life, which is me focused. The quickest way to feel better, turn it around, focus on others. There's 3 levels of consciousness. This is happening to me, this is happening for me, or this is happening where I can do something for others. Your companies must be dedicated for others. There's lots of energy, lots of life force, lots of creativity, lots of ideas. If it's for you, significance, your reputation, your money, your exit, low energy, low level of consciousness, you're going to attract very different teams. You're going to attract very different funders when it's for you, right? This is for others. So your spiritual health is finding something where you're sort of like, something bigger needs to come through me. How do you nurture your spiritual health? Many ways. Yes, you can meditate. Yes, you can just be in silence. You can listen to music that turns the spirit on. You can go for a walk. You can be in nature. You can be with your pets. You can, have a bath. You can giggle with your kids. You can pray for sure. You can write your journal. You can certainly go to church, but you've got to nurture your spiritual health. If you're not doing it, it's not for, when I have time, when I sell my business, then I'll nurture it. Actually, your business has a spiritual quotient. Your business has an emotional quotient. Your business has a physical, mental, spiritual, like how low is it? Like if I said to you, rank your business, your spiritual quotient is what? And spiritual is not, we're all believers and we're all prayer, which is fine if we all do. But it's like, how much of this, what's the feeling of this? What am I doing for others, right? Most people never think about this. You plug into this level of spiritual energy, watch what's possible for you, much more so than, eating a salad, because this is consciousness. It's what's making your heart beat. It's what creates babies. It's what, creates nature. You plug into that, but consciously plug into that. What am I doing for my spiritual health every day? The body gets better. The body is connected to that already, even if you've never thought about it, right? So spiritually, what am I doing for myself? Okay, so finally, one of the things I encourage people, especially smart type A type people, I'm sure there's a few of you on this call, is start tracking this. It's nice to speak about it. It feels all nice and huggy and wonderful, but track it. This is data. This is data. Track your water, track your sleep, track your breathing, track how much you're moving. Like track it, measure it. Track acid versus alkaline. Track when you're getting sick. Track when you're suffering. Track when you're stressed. Track when you wake up tired in the morning. What's going on? Track it. You guys are data junkies, data experts. We have all this data about our business and our work and our ROI and our monthly revenues and our product market fits and our customer. Well, what about you? You're your customer. You're it. You're the CEO of your own company, You're not tracking anything. You have tracking it. The body wants you to get better. Do you know that I have met, I know personally, I know venture capitalists and angel investors who were ready to take their checkbooks out. And they asked a few questions about health, about energy, about their personal growth, about, what they've done to raise their standards. And they did not get funding. Because of this issue, they were ready to fund them. They were like unhealthy. And it's not necessarily unhealthy physically, unhealthy emotionally, unhealthy mentally, unhealthy habits, unhealthy team, unhealthy coping strategies. This is a big issue. And I promise you, with investors right now who are not super generous with their checkbooks, your quality of energy matters. I feel it through the screen. It matters. Where does that come from? I don't know what you've eaten. I don't know if you've had water today. I don't know how much sleep you've had. People feel it. They feel it through the screen. It is not something that comes across in a pitch deck. It is not something that comes across at a board meeting and, you know, your perfect board deck. It comes across through you. These are all pointers to how you raise your standards and your level of health. It will benefit you exponentially. I know people who haven't taken jobs because the CEO was unhealthy at really quite interesting startups. It's like he's an unhealthy guy. So you want to attract high quality talent. This is a big thing to go for. People are going for not only healthy cultures, right? And the ping pong table and the free drinks and whatever. We're really quite beyond that. There's something about the healthy balance of a leader, the healthy balance of a CEO. No, my CEO doesn't respond to emails after 6 p.m. That's healthy. My CEO is not always available on the weekend. That's healthy. People want to work for those types of people. It doesn't mean you're not working. It just means you're not putting that out there as a requirement for your business. You're letting people make their own decisions. You're letting people have a life. You're trusting them as adults and grown-ups, as opposed to you got to be online at 9 p.m. when I email you. Unhealthy. They probably will be working at 9 p.m. But don't require it or ask it, okay? The final thing I will say is you must also, in addition to tracking some of this data, what gets scheduled gets done. So by the time we leave this call, you are going to meet however many new emails and messages and Slack messages and calls and WhatsApps that have come in since we started talking an hour ago. If you do not schedule this stuff in, it will not get done. Schedule the meditation, schedule the walk, schedule the I'm going to move, schedule the I'm going to go make myself, you know, a fresh juice or whatever it is. You have to schedule it. Get a different color in your schedule and schedule it in. If you do not schedule it, this is going to be a really nice talk. At least I hope some of you thought it was a nice talk. I did. The more I say it, the more I embody it for myself. But if you do not schedule it in, it'll be notes in a book. It'll be really nice. It'll be, wow, that was fun and inspiring, and nothing will get done. And that is the difference between high performers and people who have a bunch of information. You now have a bunch of information. I'm available for any more information you need, but do not leave the site of new information without making decisions, taking actions, and scheduling it. That's the difference. Okay. So that's it on my end, even though I've got a lot more I could share. One of the things I want to open up for you is I would like to hear from you guys in the chat, or you can take the mic, about what is the best thing you do currently for your health and your energy. Partly I want to hear it for myself, and partly I want other people to hear that there's many, many ways to do this. There's so many doors into this. It's not, I've given you a few myself, but I'm sure there's many, many things you're already doing that are great. So anyone want to say, best thing you're currently doing for your energy and your health? And make health a company value for all of you guys that run businesses. If health is not on your company values, doesn't necessarily, I mean, mission statements are good too, but health needs to be a company value. It has to be. It's like shocking if it's not on your company values. Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, so I will show you. I was massaging my feet with this one while watching to this. That's what my therapist asked me to do constantly to make my posture better. That's it.
That's very good. And why is posture so important? Yeah, it's good to have, you know, you look taller, you look thinner, by the way, if you have good posture. But posture is all about the abdomen being clear and the ability to actually get oxygen to every part of the body and your spine, right? The quality of your health is the quality of your spine. That's it. So well done you. Okay, what else? I want to hear them.
I'd like to share my answer and also ask a question.
Yes, Ivan.
So for me, recent discovery, I started to go to the gym with a personal trainer, and it made a lot of difference. It's like completely different from going by myself, because he pushes me to do extra exercises, and then after all, I feel like a lot of new energy, even though I'm really exhausted during the exercises. But
here's what I want to say, Ivan. Here's the thing with any coach, a personal trainer or any type of coach, is they will help you raise your own standards for yourself. It's very hard. I mean, I go to the gym and I'm like, 5Ks, that's plenty. It's like 5Ks. I mean, that's a warm up. You haven't even started. That's the benefit of letting someone else go, you know what, you're here, but actually you are fully capable of being here. So allowing someone else to coach you or encourage you or check in with you, declaring to someone, listen, I'm going to do this, I need you to hold me to it, that will also massively help, as opposed to you trying to do it with yourself. Okay.
Yeah, so if I may, I'd like to ask a question. And it sounds related probably to what you just said. So it seems that in order to live this balanced, healthy life, some needs first money and time. So it seems that we need a lot of freedom in terms of financial resources and time in order to do all those juices, to make healthy choices in terms of food, in order to afford personal trainer or a coach. But probably it seems like on any level of income, probably you would feel this way in any job, or even if you're an entrepreneur, you still would feel this way. So how would you go about that?
So let me ask you, is that really true? I mean, listen to what I said. Oxygen, number one, totally free for everyone on the planet. Clean water, you could probably get clean water. Just please don't put it in plastic, because there's a lot of microplastics that are now leaching into the water. So just please get a glass bottle or anything else. No plastic water. Nutrients. I mean, I live in Kenya. There are healthy vegetables and fruits everywhere for like hardly any money. You know, I don't know where, you know, around you, but actually the expensive foods are actually not necessarily the best ones for the body. Sleep, eliminating waste, totally free. Moving, totally free in whatever way you can. I know people who have been in jail. I've coached some people in jail, and they have managed to stay healthy because of some of this. So they get whatever nutrients they can, they get the water, and they find a way to move. So I agree with you. In some ways, it sounds like, you know, this is going to cost money. I would respectfully disagree that the most important things the body needs to stay healthy. Stressful thoughts, you can change that for free. Movement, definitely for free. Music, definitely for free. So a lot of the things that are affecting, you know, your mental, physical, meditation. I mean, the cover of Time magazine is all about meditation, completely for free, available to every human on the planet. I don't think the world would be a fair world if health was only available for people with time and money. I really don't. And, you know, to your point, my question, when you were saying about time, I don't want this to feel like you need time. I want this to feel like this is your identity. You don't need time to brush your teeth. You just brush your teeth, right? You don't need time to make sure you always have water and you're drinking it consistently. You don't need time to make a better choice when you go out to a restaurant. You don't need time. You need consciousness. You need conscious awareness, much more so than time. If it feels like, oh, I've got to do all this extra stuff, of course it can feel like time. So I hope that's a little bit helpful. But of course, I understand, Ivan, the mind hates change, and the mind doesn't want to do any of this stuff. So it's like it's finding all the ways to kind of push back.
But if a person has a successful career in consulting or investment banking, or is trying to build a business as an entrepreneur, it feels that you need to like give 100% of yourself for career or for your startup in order to basically survive. And it's really hard to just like pause for 15 minutes to meditate throughout the day. Or it's hard to go to gym, for example, 3 times per week, because you're not working on your startup and if you are in consulting or in a high performance career, it's just not possible at all.
But do you see how this is great that you're sharing it, because for everyone you can hear that this is the most limiting belief that we have all bought into. Because I can assure you there are many, many successful founders and CEOs who don't have this belief. Because if everyone had this belief, then I agree, then it's a fact. But you are not talking about a fact. You're talking about a personal belief that you have bought into. So my suggestion is to kind of go, well, who would I be without that belief? If I didn't believe that, then what's possible for me? Right? Because, you know, I've been in management consulting. I worked for Boston Consulting Group. I mean, I know what that's like. And I can tell you that I'm very hopeful that a lot of these beliefs are changing, because there are too many people who are burning out. There's too many people getting sick. And worst, there are too many people who don't want to work for these companies anymore. These companies have tremendously hard time hiring people. I mean, Goldman Sachs just lost 20% of their workforce like a month ago because of, not burnout, because all these first-year associates walked out and said, nope, not happening, not doing it. It's like, it was like a strike. It was like on all the papers. So when 20% of the associates of Goldman Sachs walk out because of health and conditions and burnout, I promise you other companies are picking up. And you will not be able to hire millennials and people with this kind of expectation. But the belief is, to be effective, I need to work 100 hours. It's not true. To be effective, you might need to work 20 hours. And there's or 20 hours. You might need to cut 20 hours, but those 80 hours will be a lot more effective, a lot more productive. You'll make better decisions. You'll hire better people. You won't do the wrong deal. You won't do the wrong investment. Because you know that 100 hours, some of them are productive and some of them aren't. They're not equally all productive, the 100 hours. So how do you get to a place of going, where are my high productivity hours? And the low productivity hours, you do have to manage your health and your energy. So I hope that's helpful.
Yep, thank you.
Taras, go. I'm listening.
Yeah, okay. I think in addition to such a very simple things that I have to keep me, let's say, healthy, like a stepper next to my desk, like from time to time when you feel some tension, you know, just focused on something really hard and just, you know, have some headache or whatever. Just even 5 minutes to move if you don't have enough of place in a room just to walk back and forth. You just can have, and you start feeling like the tension goes away, even though you continue thinking about the subject, the topic, and other kind of things. But walking outside, that's 15-20 minutes, half of hour with your family alone or whatever. Even I know you're probably against coffee, right? But having a coffee.
I'm in Kenya. Kenya is like some of the best coffee in the world. So this is a hard thing. But I don't do coffee every day. I don't.
But you know, even going to take a coffee, 15 minutes back and 15 minutes forth and 15 minutes back is already some walking. You walking not fast enough, just thinking of something, drinking this coffee on the way back. It's not taking too much time, but really increasing life energy, other kind of things. But more importantly, and for me it's probably the biggest one, and especially now in Ukraine, is looking at all the good things, especially in people and what people are doing. So I'm helping myself, to others. I'm reading about people helping others and other kind of things. And even if you had a really, really bad day, but you have a couple of such persons you are following on Facebook and Twitter and other kind of things, you're reading what all the good things were done today, what all these good people, men and women who fight for Ukraine, who help others to fight, who help. I'm personally right now living in Irpin. It's half damaged city. So, but you will not see, let's say, a lot of sad people around.
Yeah.
People found their way through that. I mean, they are focusing on good things, and that really helps. That gives so much energy. Even though I can be not sleeping well today, not eating well because of something, but once I see some good things that are happening around, it's just returning balance to normal.
I love it. You're talking about our spiritual connection to each other. We don't exist in a bubble. It's like what happens to you happens to me. What happens to someone else's child happens inside of me. Like, it's sort of, we really are all connected, but we're so divided and separate sort of mentally, that what you're talking to is sort of like, wow, it's just the goodness of the human spirit. And it's, the same energy goes through you as it goes through me. We're all plugged into the same energy, whether you call it consciousness, God, life, universe, nature, it doesn't really matter. But when you realize that, that you're part of that unity, it brings you more energy. When you're separate and outside of the circle and worrying about your thing and your startup, you feel separate and out of the circle and not connected. And so that's one way. I'm signed up to a few newsletters. One of them is called the Good News Network. And I get a newsletter every day of just people who've done crazy, amazing, beautiful, wonderful things all around the world. And it puts a smile on my face. I just keep believing in the goodness of human beings, because if I just read the media, I'm going to believe in the goodness of the badness of human beings and just how horrible the world is. And you get what you focus on. So what you focus on expands. You go looking for those people, you will hear more and more about them. You go looking for how bad it is, you will hear more and more about that too. And that it is it is a choice that we make. What we choose to let into our minds, what we choose to read, the news we choose to let in, the good news we choose to let in.
And the interesting thing that sometimes you need to look at the other side. I mean, we have a lot of other bad news around, but just to remind ourselves that not everything is okay. Because if you are in a bubble and only reading the good news, you are just also getting disconnected from the real world.
Absolutely. It's all this whole call, I hope you can hear, it's all about balance. It's not about extremes. It's not about cutting everything out. I always say it's progress, not perfection. A lot of you type A people are going to go to the extreme, and I'm not perfect and I didn't do it, so now I'm not doing it. No. Progress, not perfection. One little thing, one little change. Let's see what happens. Thank you, Taras. Joanna.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to say that besides general things like, I don't know, meditation, breathe exercising or something like that, walking, tech-free, I would say that the most powerful thing for me is like, and thank you, Ariana, that you mentioned before. So it's not about doing, but about being. So sometimes to know or figure out how things work actually, and that what we just done today, how it works. So knowing how it works helped me to be, but not just to do. So that is what has worked for me. Thank you.
Beautiful. And it's sort of, we're obsessed with the doing energy and being the doer and being busy. And I tell you, I'm an angel investor myself. And I can tell you, when I'm in the presence of someone who is being, it's a very different conversation. When I'm in the presence of someone who's doing a pitch and doing a conversation and doing the numbers and like, it's just, God, I just pull back. When they are being themselves, when they are being their true, honest self, when they are sharing their idea from an inspiring place, when they are, it's a whole other conversation. So I get, believe me, I get the pitch deck and the funding and the proof and the product, and I get all of that part. But once you've done that, you need to be it. And, you know, thank you for the reminder, Joanna, because, you know, I can do coaching or I can be a good coach. And believe me, there are a lot of coaches out there who are doing coaching. You can get a life coaching certificate online these days. They're doing the tools, but you will not be with the coach. You will not be and feel connected to someone who gets you and understands you. And when you're in front of clients, when you're in front of people you want to hire, when you're in front of funders, when you are in front of the press, I want you to switch into, okay, I'm going to be with them. I'm not going to prove to them. I'm not going to sell to them. I'm going to be with them. The selling will happen automatically if you're being. Okay, thank you. Who else? Is it Maria?
Yes, it's Maria.
Hi, Maria.
I wanted to share that like some things that helped me. Now it's like trying to go to bed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely new experience for me because we all have like different tasks during the day and you're like, I'm gonna work 1 hour more, and then you end up working all night. So now I decided to try this and it really helps. Sometimes it's weird that I wake up at 4 a.m. because I already like had sleep that I needed. And another thing that I found that is helping, it's reflection in like different ways, like trying to just write thoughts and like let it go in the end of the day. Or try, like if I feel bad during the day, I try to find at least 3 things that I'm grateful for that happened to me.
Very nice.
That this method, I like heard about it lately and I just try to put it into my life, and it feels weird to do that, but at the same time I can see that it does make a difference.
It does massively. And I mean, journaling, I mean, there's science behind journaling. There is proof and research about what happens when you journal. Even just getting it out, if you never read it again, it doesn't even matter.
I wanted to also ask a question. So right now we live in the world when like a lot is happening, and I'm sure you learned a lot what is happening in Ukraine. And one thing that's really like is hard for me to understand is like that all the values I believed in, they like I question them all, because what is happening, it's like all controversial and everything, like how the world reacts, how we react, and it's just too confusing. And I feel that a lot of questions, like existential questions that have like that just come up to my mind, they drains a lot of energy from me, and I don't really know how to cope with them, because like you cannot stop thinking about them, right? You just your stuff, but then you're like, okay, so what is the meaning of the life? And it just right now I feel like a lot of people are going through this existential crisis because what is happening. So how would you suggest?
I mean, it's a wonderful question. And I would say, you know, in some ways, those questions are your access to your heart and your truth and your freedom and to making a life that is meaningful and matters. Unfortunately, you guys have had a difficult trigger to put you into a place of just going, you know, what is worth doing with this life? And I promise you, even just holding that question open allows you to bring in the people, the ideas, the work that starts being a match for you. Most people are like, here's a question, answer the question. Here's a question, answer the question. Like, we're trained to do that. I mean, think about it at school. Here's a question, what's the answer? Here's a question, what's the answer? I want you to get really comfortable with holding those questions open. Right? There's a beautiful poet called Rainer Maria Rilke. I don't know if any of you have ever read him. R-I-L-K-E. I'll try and find the actual poem. But it's all about asking questions. And he said something like, do not fear the questions that do not now have answers, because one day you will wake up and realize that you have sailed right into the answer. So do not fear the questions that do not now have answers. I'll send it to Zena. She can pass it on if you want. It's a very, very famous, and I was just like, it's okay to have an open question. It's okay to not know something. And because the beauty and miracle of this life is you're not going to be given all the pieces of the puzzle today. Like, I don't know how old you are. You look beautiful and young. You're not going to be given. The beauty is you're going to get it from a book or a poem, and then a relationship, and then maybe a loss, and then maybe a failure, and then maybe a meditation, and then maybe a teacher. Do you see? It's like, so be open to how it unfolds. The part that I love and I want to acknowledge is people who hold that sort of a question open and as an intention for their life, they will find that. A lot of people find this way, 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 way later. And they haven't been able to course correct and adjust where they want their life to be and go. Right? So you hold that question now. You will choose the right people for you. You will, make decisions that feel more in line with your truth and your purpose. And you will be given some guidance. Right? So stay in the mystery, as opposed to, I don't know, I've got to figure it out. Just stay in the mystery. I'm really open. Tomorrow I might be given another piece. I mean, I'm a bit older than you. I still hold that. I remember when I left my job and I broke off an engagement, and believe me, I had a lot of existential questions. I was like, this was my existential question. What the fuck am I doing? That was mine. That was the existential question of my life. I've just blown up my relationship life and blown up my work life and blown up my financial life. What the fuck? But I knew that, to your point, there was something that was bigger. I didn't know it. I couldn't define it. I wasn't shown it. I wasn't given my husband immediately. I wasn't given my work immediately. No. But I stayed with the uncertainty and I stayed with the unknown. And getting good at the unknown is a huge superpower. You stay in the unknown. And I remember the only thing I used to say to life, the world, anyone listening up there, I'd be like, I said two things. I'd say, show me the way, show me the way, show me the way, show me the way. Because I didn't have a way. Show me the way, show me the way, show me the way, show me the way. That's what, sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. And then I would say, please use me. Please use me for your highest good. Please use me to help my fellow human beings. Please use me. I don't know how. Maybe I'm going to be used to have a child. Maybe I'm going to use to start a school. Maybe I'm going to use to help someone. Maybe I'm going to be used to start a business. Maybe I'm going to use to talk to you guys. Maybe I'm going to use to write a book. I had no idea, guys. But those were my two prayers, if you would ask, to my higher self. Show me the way. Bring the right people, bring the right books, bring the right ideas, bring the right fun, show me the way and use me. Because when you are used for a purpose that's higher than yourself, you will have a high energy and great life. And you will live into your purpose. If you want to figure it all out for yourself, it will feel pretty stale and you will feel quite unfulfilled. And I work with people who sold their companies to Twitter and whatever, and built giant unicorn companies, and they are empty and they are low energy and they have low life force. Why? It wasn't for others. It wasn't for impact. They didn't feel used. They ticked off their 10 boxes for themselves. And now the beauty is, the next stage of their life is they get to do something that has, where they're being used. They're being used for something greater. That will bring you energy. The universe does not let you down if you're being used for something greater. I mean, look at what's going on in your country. Like, the quality of the energy and the courage and the resilience is because you're being used in ways that are for something greater. You're not fighting for yourselves. You know, it's not a personal thing. I mean, it's amazing the quality of the example that you guys have given the world. So thank you for the question about, you know, the broader question of life. Hi, Zina. Are we off? Are you kicking me out?
No, not at all, actually.
You can. I'm sure my son wants me to go say goodnight to him. I said I'd be done.
No, yeah, it's we actually passed our time, but as long as you have the energy or you want, you can.
Energy? I don't feel like I'm low energy at all. I could speak to you for the next 5 hours.
Yeah, I just wanted actually to relay a question from the chat, and
Yeah.
So the question is how to become a good coach.
Huh. Well, I don't know who's asking that, but I want to know what's the question behind the question. Do you want to become a good coach? What is it? Or just give me some context. Are you a coach? Do you have a coach?
Let's hear from maybe you can unmute and talk.
Hello. Hello, Ariane.
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Alex. I'm just graduated from the course of coaches. And for me, it's very interesting. And, you know, sometimes you're not expecting something, but it happens. I have found this link and connect to you. And as well, I'm a director of the company. So I'm trying to connect the coaching between the managing of the company, trying to use this technology in working on this. And as well, I would like to be a coach, and maybe you give some recommendations.
Great. Okay, thank you for the question, Alex. So there's so much I can say here. I'm going to try and summarize it. So a good coach cares. So that's the rule. If I honestly had to say, a good coach cares. So a good coach is not trying to look good or sound good or fix someone or save someone or rescue someone or be successful, or a good coach cares. So coaching to me is about being in service to other people, right? And maybe I'm saying things that are really obvious, but there's a lot of coaches, you don't get that feeling from them. And people who require and request a coach, they will feel it. And after you have a chat with them, if you don't hear from them, they are picking something up from you that is not aligned or in integrity with what it is they're looking for. So the other thing about being a good coach is you have to be committed to doing the work yourself. You have to clean up your energy. You have to clean up your values, your beliefs. You have to clean up your stuff. Because if you don't, it's sort of, again, you're out of alignment with what you're actually offering and suggesting. So, you know, I did 20 years of my own personal growth and journey before I dared to even ever coach someone. I mean, and it's not that you need to do 20 years, but for me, I wanted to feel like I could meet someone in whatever dark tunnel, night of the soul challenge, and that it would not throw me off. So I have not had a cancer diagnosis, and yet I have people in my clients that have health challenges or health opportunities going on. But I wanted to make sure that I was wide enough in some ways to be able to hold a space where I could see them as being healed. I could see them as being transformed. I could see them, you know, as sort of coming out on the other end. So caring, doing it for others, of course, having your own personal experience of, you know, I've had a coach for 22 years. Same coach. I don't speak to her every week. I don't speak to her every month. But when I need something and when something is up for me, I will call her. I had a coaching session last night with her because stuff was up for me. So do you see, it's sort of this, the desire to learn and the desire to be open-minded and the desire to grow is a fundamental requirement for a coach. Because when you have it, then other people see what that feels and looks like, right? The importance of being vulnerable, the importance of sharing your own story, not having the answers. You know, I'd say the other thing that makes a good coach is needing to please, not needing to prove. Like, I didn't come here tonight to be liked. I came here to totally, it was my 2-minute, intention before I turned on my screen. May I be of complete service. May I serve my fellow human beings. And may anything I can say, do, share, feel, believe, may I contribute to them at my highest possible level. And then I get out of the way. But I do that before every coaching call. So do you see? And I try and pull on anything that can help someone else. But it's not 5 coaching practices and 3 frameworks. I mean, I know them, but people know when you're doing the frameworks on them. So you need to kind of bring your humanity to the framework. You need to bring your own kind of flavor to it. You need to kind of go, you need to be bold. Like I can be a very tough coach and I can cry on the phone with someone if I have to. You need to be able to have the space. And I mean, I can see it on the screen. You've got lovely energy. I would feel comfortable, feeling like, wow, this person can certainly coach. Coaches are not there to be friends. They are warm. There's a real open-heartedness about being a coach, but coaches are there to help you raise your standards and help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And there's a reason you're not where you want to be. So you can't be afraid of kind of calling people on their shit. So I hope there's a few little nuggets there, keep reading, keep learning, keep growing. I'll see something and I'll feed it into a coaching client because I go, oh, that's why I heard about this, because I should share it with her. Do you see? So it's not, your journey is never done as a coach. Like I'm constantly,
Thank you very much.
but you being a clear channel,
Of course.
right? It is the clarity is what you give to people, and clarity has a lot to do with the quality of your energy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think this is a very good time to end the session. I think we took a lot of your time, Ariane.
No. I'm very happy. This is my joy. It's my contribution. I've been asking to do this not only for you guys, but in any way that I can. And I feel complete when and you must all feel this. It's sort of when you feel that you have given or shared anything for someone else, just watch the rush of energy that comes through to you. It doesn't have to be in a big way. There are times I'll just look at my phone and I go, who do I need to check in with? Who do I need to send a text to? Who do I need to send a voice note to? Just what I do. I don't do it to be a good friend. I do it because I kind of go, wow, I'm sure this is going to make a massive difference to their day.
It definitely does.
Right? Because they're going through a hard time, or because their kid's sick, or because whatever. So it's just getting out of this focus and going out this way. The world is much more beautiful that way.
That's very true.
Thank you, guys. Keep in touch. Zena has my info. Keep in touch.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we're gonna post the video and all the materials you mentioned on Slack, so make sure to join it. I just posted the link again in the messages, and make sure to join us again. Next week we have the art of rejection.
Oh, Paul Green.
Yes.
Paul Green is a dear friend of mine. I've known him 25 years. He is, quite a famous actor. He's been in a lot of movies. He's also an amazing musician. And during COVID, his contribution, because he couldn't act and he couldn't do his music, was every week to do a free concert online on YouTube. And he had thousands of people join because people were locked up in their houses and kids everywhere and homeschooling and everything else. And so his contribution to the world, as opposed to me, my career and my stuff, was I'm going to get online, I'm going to play my guitar, and I'm going to talk to people every week. And he's continued to do it. And I said to him, I said, Paul, you've got to do it for these lovely people in Ukraine. I said, please do it. And he was like, of course I'll do it. Of course I will do it. So please show up, please encourage him. He's a beautiful man inside and out, believe me. He used to be one of the top models in the world too. So you'll have a treat on screen. But he's got music on Spotify. He'll tell you all about his journey. I'm godmother to one of his children, so it's wonderful. And
Nice.
he's got a lot to share, not only of his personal story, but also just things he's tried. He also does health and wellness